This is just a little video I'm going to put together to help anybody who maybe had the same problem as me. This is a 2001 Volkswagen Jetta automatic tranny 2.0. The issue I was having, my transmission was shifting really hard, so I thought my fluid was low. So then I started to deal with that, figured out there was water in my transmission. I realized that my ATF cooler is bad, which goes there, but this is it right here. So I tried to find stuff online, couldn't really see any videos that explained my issue. Since the transmission fluid was mixing with the coolant, I also noticed some real nasty stuff in there. So I'm gonna have to flush that out, but that'll be separate. The cooler sits here. As you can see, it's just 2 bolts. This is an 8mm hex bit socket set, 8 mil. I've got it on a long couple of extensions. You're gonna get your long extension down there, boom, boom, 2 bolts. They're gonna be really tight and they make kind of a scary noise when they break loose, but that's okay. The bolts are the easy part. Then you're gonna have 2 hoses, which go here and here. They are gonna have these horrible little hose clamps on them. Good luck, that's all I can say. I used this, which I got from Harbor Freight, and I also used a little bit of this, which is just a little multi-tool. I heard that they do create a tool that's made for these hose clamps where it's supposed to be really easy and whatever, but these are old, rusty. I had a really hard time, but that's just part of the process. Just keep working at it. And one thing I will say is, you know, don't get stuck in one place. You know, like for example, you're gonna be sitting here and you're gonna be like, oh man, this is never coming off, and you've been trying to get it this way the whole time. Well, you know, maybe try sticking it under here and over here and back here, and you know, sometimes it's good to just take a step back and think about different ways, different angles. That's pretty much what I had to do. I'm not kidding, it took me probably 2 hours to get the 2 hoses and the clamps off. Once you get the clamps off, you think you're in the clear, but no, the hoses are swollen, they're stuck in there. So then I use a screwdriver and I would just kind of, you know, shove it in there. You're just trying to break that seal loose. I also alternated the screwdriver with a little pick. The little pick, I just kind of got it in there and then went around the edges. But really what you need to do is break the seal down here. So that's what the screwdriver is for. You just shove the screwdriver deep in there, wiggle it around, and I physically heard it, you know, a little snap where you can hear it breaking off. So once you have all that undone, the cooler just lifts out, as you can see. Sometimes they go bad internally, like mine did, where you'll have the 2 fluids mixing, the transmission and the coolant. Other times, the only thing I could find online was people complaining that their O-rings were shot. So if you have a leak, like a transmission leak or a coolant leak that's right here in this area, it's probably just the O-rings here. You can change just the O-rings. I saw a lot of people doing that. There's another O-ring under these banjo bolts here. But me, like I said, my problem was different. I had the 2 fluids mixing, so I needed a whole new cooler anyways, and it came with the new seals, the new O-rings, so that's good. You may be able to find just the O-rings online, I don't know, but this whole thing, the new cooler, by the way, that's the color that my fluid was in my transmission and my coolant. Not good. I got it from Wolfsburg Tuning, and it was $73.99, and that comes with the new cooler and the new O-rings down there. So now I'm gonna go ahead and put this new one on there. You'll notice you have 2 sets of O-rings. You have some skinnier ones, and these are a little fatter. The fatter ones are gonna go on top. So what I'm gonna do now is just take my bolts out here. Now the bolts are removed with my 8mm on my ratchet. Here are the 2 bolts. That's where the fluid passes through. You can see right here is where the O-rings are, which I will be replacing. Some more fluid's gonna come out with those out. Also, one of these bolts required a little bit of manhandling to get out. It was loose, but it wouldn't come out of the hole. I just banged it with the back of my ratchet until it popped out. Little O-ring. To get out the old seals, I used this little pick again. Right under the edge, pop them off. I'm gonna clean these bolts off with some brake clean. Get them nice and clean. Okay, there's your Branjo bolts with the new O-rings. These are the other O-rings that go on the underside. And I'm going to stick them into my 2 bolt holes beforehand. I'm gonna get the O-rings in there, then drop in the bolt with the whole assembly. The new cooler. Old banjo bolts with new O-rings. I've just got it sitting in there up until the O-ring stops it. Now, I'm sure that in a perfect world, maybe you're supposed to use ATF or shit, I don't know. I don't even want to tell you. You might be supposed to use some kind of fluid for when you're putting that new O-ring on. Very possible that it's supposed to be seeded with a fluid, but I don't know which fluid I would put, so I'm gonna go with no fluid. Right now, I'm just trying to fish this down the hole. Okay, this is gonna be the hard part, because you can't see where the holes are. Complete guessing game. What a bitch, bro. Okay. Not correct. I'm sure that there's supposed to be some kind of torque spec, but just get it tight. I try not to tighten too much side, or too much at one time on each side. I kind of like to alternate, tighten a little bit on one, go back to the other side, see how it is, tighten that a little bit more. I'm gonna tighten it just to the point where it's a little bit uncomfortable, and I'm kind of scared, because that's kind of how it was when I undid it. So, okay, that's perfect. This is what it looks like with the new one installed. I'm going to take these little caps off. This is the god-awful shit that comes off the car, these things. I'm replacing it with these hose clamps, much easier. You can get a screwdriver or a socket on them. I have a hose clamp assortment, got that from Harbor Freight. Game plan here, attach my hoses back, put these bad boys on first, attach my hoses back, tighten them suckers down, good to go. I cannot stress this enough. Get some long extensions. This has helped so much. So I've got my hoses on right there, right there. I slipped my hose clamp on beforehand. So now I'm just gonna pick them up to where I want to be, making sure that the bolt is somewhere easily accessible, like so. Then I'm gonna use my long extensions to crank them down. Finished product with my new and improved hose clamps and the new cooler. When you're looking at the car, There it is.